human disaster this morning. My name is Kate Roller. For those of you who don't know me, my pronouns are she, her, hers. Today I'm wearing my hair back in a ponytail. That's what I was freaking out about. I'm wearing a cactus shirt and a cactus necklace and cactus earrings and black pants. Welcome to First Unitarian Church, where our mission is to explore the eternal, nurture community, and pursue the common good. We welcome you in your brokenness and in your wholeness. No matter who you have been, who you are, or who you are becoming, we greet you today with love. I'd like to extend a special welcome to everyone who is watching us on YouTube this morning, which I imagine is quite a few of you. During the prelude, please introduce yourself in the comments and let us know where you're joining us from. If you're in Oklahoma City, what neighborhood are you in? Or if you're elsewhere, what city are you in? And now the prelude prepares us for worship.
Sunshine on my shoulders makes me happy. Sunshine in my eyes can make me cry. Sunshine on the water looks so lovely. Sunshine almost always makes me high. If I had a day that I could give to you, I'd give to you a day just like today. And if I had a song that I could sing for you, I'd sing a song to make you feel this way. Sunshine on my shoulders makes me happy. Sunshine in my eyes can make me cry. Sunshine on the water looks so lovely. Sunshine almost always makes me high. If I had a tale that I could tell you, I'd tell a tale sure to make you smile. And if I had a wish that I could wish for you, I'd make a wish for sunshine for all the while. Sunshine on my shoulders makes me happy. Sunshine in my eyes can make me cry. Sunshine on the water looks so lovely. sunshine almost always makes me high.
That was just beautiful. Thank you so much for that. My name is Tim Atkins. I am proud to serve as your Director of Lifespan Religious Exploration. I am both big and tall, wearing a green shirt in honor of Earth Day and rainbow-colored glasses. We light our chalice here in our building in Midtown, Oklahoma City, a land that was home to indigenous peoples, including the Apache, Caddo, and Wichita, a land that was taken from the Creek and Seminole and other removed and relocated peoples. The chalice is also, we light the chalice as a symbol of our sacred time together. The burning chalice represents the light of reason and science, the warmth of loving community, the cleansing heat of justice, and the flame of hope. And our chalice this morning is also lit in 30 other locations, from Portland, Oregon to Portland Avenue, Mesta Park, Choctaw, and all over in the village, just for our Marathon Sunday. So thank you all for joining us online as well.
Good morning. I'm Rob Ham. My pronouns are the culturally traditional male trio. I am a European American of retirement age, bald, bespectacled, and over 6 feet tall. I represent the Sustainable Living organization of our church, which is currently working to help the congregation meet the physical and behavioral standards to maintain our designation as a green sanctuary. Earth Day, while a yearly event, has been a stimulus for people to voluntarily do things that reduce pollution and slow the destruction of the environment. On the web, you can find lists of how much has been done in the past 52 years, such as hundreds of millions of trees planted, 2.7 billion acts of green, 36 million cleanup volunteers, Earth Day participants everywhere. Now, I don't know how accurately they count these figures, but I'm sure our efforts have not been added to the list. But we can agree that there's a lot, and it is good. Let every day be Earth Day. The words for the call to worship were written by the Reverend Lynn Harrison. Committed to respond to the call of a wounded world, we join together this day with loving hearts, hands, and minds, embracing the interconnected web of water, air, and earth. We light a fire of sustaining hope, ever bright with love and justice. May we bring forth this day new wisdom, strength, and courage to create a new world, not of wealth, but of well-being. A world of new peace and abundance for all. As we give thanks for this earth, our shared and singular home, may we dedicate ourselves to its ongoing care. Rising to the calls deep within us and all around us, may we respond today and always with courage and with love.
Good morning. My name is Barbara Gallivan. I'm an older Caucasian woman with white hair and wearing a purple sweater. My pronouns are she, her, and hers. Our auction opened this morning. It's online, opened at 8 o'clock this morning, and it's an important part of our budget, so please support it. There will be a live auction and a party on Saturday night here in the courtyard from 6 o'clock to 8 o'clock. There is a link through the newsletter and also our Facebook page where you register and then start bidding. And you'll be able to bid until Saturday afternoon, and hope that you'll do a lot of that. You can buy raffle tickets online or here today. Now, a different little plug, the Gardening Covenant Group, for the first time in 3 years, is having our plant sale next Sunday after church out in the courtyard in front of the sanctuary steps. So we hope you'll come and support that, and even if you're watching at home next Sunday, maybe you could drive down after the service and support the plant sale. The money goes to beautify the church grounds. Now the call to offering. Every Sunday we take an offering. Since 2002, all the cash and designated checks from that offering have gone directly to external nonprofit organizations doing good work. We call that our Change for Change partners. For the month of April, our Change for Change partner is Teen Empower Inc. Their mission is to empower, educate, and motivate adolescents to make informed decisions for their sexual health. The funds collected will go specifically to their Stop the Stigma program. This program supports the emotional well-being of those who are HIV positive, plus it supports prevention efforts. Federal funds will not cover this program. Oh, I don't have that. Okay. Oh, thank you. I have more. Today, as we continue to step down from COVID precautions, we'll return to passing the offering plate. Oh, okay. If you're not able to make a gift today, I didn't see this before. If you're not able to make a gift today, we invite you to write a note of encouragement to our Change for Change partner organization, and we'll share those messages with them as well. And if you're watching us online, please make your gift by sending a check to the First Unitarian. Just write Change for Change on the memo line, or make an online payment through our website. Thank you.
Oh, Mother Earth, with your fields of green, one more laid down by the hungry hand. How long can you give and not receive, and feed this world ruled by greed, and feed this world ruled by greed? Oh, ball of fire in the summer sky, your healing light, your parade of days, are they betrayed by the men of power who hold this world in their changing hands, this world in their changing hands? Oh, freedom land, can you let this go down to the streets where the numbers grow? Respect Mother Earth and her healing ways, or trade away our children's days, or trade away our children's days.
Our story today is a selection from The Lorax by Dr. Seuss. Way back in the days when the grass was still green and the pond was still wet and the clouds were still clean, and the song of the Swami songs ran out in space. One morning I came to this glorious place, and I first saw the trees, the truffula trees, the bright colored tufts of the truffula trees, mile after mile in the fresh morning breeze. All my life I've been searching for trees such as these. The tuft of their tufts was much softer than silk, and they had the sweet smell of fresh butterfly milk. I felt a great leaping of joy in my heart. I knew just what I'd do. I unloaded my cart, and in no time at all, I had built a small shop. Then I chopped down a truffula tree with one great chop. And with great skillful skill and with great speedy speed, I took the soft tuft and I knitted a thneed. The instant I finished, I heard a gazump. I looked and I saw something pop out of the stump of the tree I chopped down. It was sort of a man. Describe him? Well, that's hard. I don't know if I can. He was shortish and oldish and browny and mossy, and he spoke with a voice that was sharpish and bossy. "Mister," he said with a sawdusty sneeze, "I am the Lorax, and I speak for the trees. I speak for the trees, for the trees have no tongues. And I'm asking you, sir, at the top of my lungs." He was very upset and shouted and puffed, "What's that thing you made out of my truffula tuft?" "Look, Lorax," I said, "there's no cause for alarm. I chopped just one tree. I'm doing no harm. I'm being quite useful. This thing is a thneed. A thneed is a fine something that all people need. It's a shirt, it's a sock, it's a glove, it's a hat, but it has other uses, yes, far beyond that. You can use it for carpets, for pillows, for sheets, or curtains or covers for bicycle seats." The Lorax said, "Sir, you are crazy with greed. There is no one on earth that would buy that fool thneed." But the very next minute, I proved he was wrong. For just at that minute, a chap came along, and he thought that the thneed I had knitted was great. He happily bought it for $3.98. I laughed at the Lorax. "You poor, stupid guy. You can never tell what some people will buy." "I repeat," cried the Lorax, "I speak for the trees." "I'm busy," I told him. "Shut up, if you please." I rushed across the room and in no time at all built a radio phone, and I put in a quick call. I called all my brothers and uncles and aunts, and I said, "Listen here, get over fast. Take the road to North Nitch, turn left at Weehawken, sharp right at South Stitch, and in no time at all in the factory I built, the whole family was working full tilt. We were all knitting thneeds just as busy as bees to the sound of the chopping of truffula trees. And then, oh baby, oh, how did my business grow? Now, chopping one tree at a time was too slow. So I quickly invented my super axe hacker, which whacked off 4 truffula trees at one smacker. We were making thneeds 4 times as fast as before. I meant no harm. I most truly did not. But I had to grow bigger, and so bigger I got. I biggered my factory, I biggered my roads, I biggered my wagons, I biggered the loads of the thneeds I shipped out. I was shipping them forth to the south, to the east, to the west, to the north. I went right on biggering, selling more thneeds, and I biggered my money, which everyone needs. Then the Lorax came back. I was fixing some pipes when that old nuisance Lorax came back with more gripes. "I am the Lorax," he coughed and he whiffed. He sneezed and he snuffled, he snargled, he sniffed. He cried with a crupulous croak, "You're making such smogulous smoke! My poor Swami sons, why, they can't sing a note. No one can sing who has smog in their throat." And so, said the Lorax, "Please pardon my cough. They cannot live here, so I am sending them off. Where will they go? I don't hopefully know. They may have to fly south for a month or for a year to escape the smog you've smogged up around here. What's more, snapped the Lorax, his dander was up, let me say a few words about gluppity-glup. Your machine chugs on day and night without stop, making gluppity-glup also schloppity-schlop. And what do you do with this leftover goo? I'll show you, you dirty old man, you. You're glumping the pond where the humming fish hummed. No more can they hum, for their gills are all gummed. So I'm sending them off. Oh, their future is dreary. They'll walk on their fins and get woefully weary in search of some water that isn't so smeary. And then I got mad. I got terribly mad. I yelled at the Lorax, now listen here, Dad. All you do is yap, yap, and say bad, 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 bad. Well, I have my rights, and I'm telling you I intend to go on doing just what I do. And for your information, you Lorax, I'm figuring on biggering and biggering and biggering, turning more truffula trees into needs, which everyone needs. And at that very moment, we heard a loud whack. From outside the fields came a sickening smack of an axe on a tree, and then we heard the tree fall, the very last truffula tree of them all. No more trees, no more needs, no more work to be done. So in no time, my uncles and aunts, everyone, all waved me goodbye. They jumped into my cars and drove away under the smoke-smuggered stars. Now all that was left beneath the bad-smelling sky was my big, empty factory, the Lorax, and I. The Lorax said nothing, just gave me a glance, gave me a very sad, sad backward glance as he lifted himself up by the seat of his pants. I'll never forget the grim look on his face when he hoisted himself and took leave of this place, through a hole in the smog without leaving a trace. And all that the Lorax left here in this mess with a small pile of rocks with one word, unless. Unless someone like you cares a whole awful lot, nothing is going to get better. It's not. So plant a new truffula, treat it with care, give it clean water, and feed it with fresh air. Grow a forest, protect it from axes that hack. Then the Lorax and all of his friends may come back. The end. And now please join us in singing our children and youth and teachers off to their religious exploration classes. Reverend Anna will lead us in Go Now in Peace.
Go now in peace, go now in peace. May the spirit of love surround you everywhere, everywhere you may go. Go now in peace, go now in peace. May the spirit of love surround you everywhere, everywhere you may go.
One of my favorite places back home is my old field site at the Rio Grande Nature Center, smack in the middle of Albuquerque. If we went, I would show you all the sights. I would take you there in the fall, when the cottonwood leaves have gone yellow but not yet been blown from the trees. We'd go in the morning when the sun is just low enough to still be a little yellow. But, geez, I'm homesick. But high enough to shine through the leaves, because for that half hour or so, the whole bosque is tinted with a warm orange gold. I'd take you to the log where I used to find owl pellets from the great horned owl and point out the 2 small cottonwoods that grew up in a natural arch right over where you leave the main trail to follow the path to the field site. At some point, I'd probably get distracted and go pat a tree and say hi to it, because even if they can't hear me, they're my old friends, and I don't care that talking to a tree makes me weird. I'd tell you about my other favorite friends, the porcupines. How they love to climb up a tree and then pretend to be a bird's nest, and that they love to strip the bark from the Russian olives but won't necessarily sleep in them, and that they can float bobbing across the river because their airfield spines keep them on the surface, a mental image which, while I've never seen, makes me laugh anytime I think of it, because it's just a little porcupine bobbing across the river. I would admit how I never want to leave because cottonwoods don't like fire, and there are a lot of fires now in the bosque. So every time I leave might be the last time I see that place the way I know it. Honestly, by the time I'm old, the bosque I love now will probably be gone, either by fire or old age, because we don't let the bosque flood anymore. Dams, channelization, and drought have seen to that. I have anxiety all the time about what will become of the part of the bosque I love the best, which I suppose is Solastalgia, although I've never heard that word before this week. Sometimes I feel like climate change and its impacts are all I ever think about. I work in climate adaptations, so it's my working life, and it's hard to escape it anywhere else unless you go the route of being willfully uninformed, which I won't do just on principle. Denial would certainly be a lot more comfortable, and some weeks when I've had it up to my eyeballs, I really genuinely see the draw of it. I have to then turn to find hope where it's close at hand. I go to my garden where the plants grow and I give them what they need, and they give me things to eat and flowers to enjoy and the company of other friends. Bees and beetles, snakes, frogs, and the little wolf and garden spiders that I always name. And I know right where they live in their little burrows. Or I go spend time with my horse or my dog. In the winter, I tend to my indoor plants or plan what I'm going to plant in the garden as soon as it warms up again. I remember that my friends and I are all in this together, and so are a lot of people I don't even know, and we're doing what we can to make the world better for the people we can reach, whether that reaches 10,000 or 10. In her book, Braiding Sweetgrass, Indigenous Wisdom, Scientific Knowledge, and the Teachings of Plants, Robin Wall Kimmerer says a number of really lovely, impactful, important things. So sometimes I literally just go look up quotes from it online, or I go pick a chapter to reread, which I highly recommend if y'all have not read that book. I was looking at quotes last night and almost had trouble picking just one, but finally landed on this one because I think it's a good suggestion for what we might do with all of our solastalgia. She says, Joanna Macy writes that until we can grieve for our planet, we cannot love it. Grieving is a sign of spiritual health. But it is not enough to weep for our lost landscapes. We have to put our hands in the earth to make ourselves whole again. Even a wounded world is feeding us. Even a wounded world holds us, giving us moments of wonder and joy. I choose joy over despair, not because I have my head in the sand, but because joy is what the earth gives me daily, and I must return the gift.
Would you please join me in a spirit of prayer or meditation? Love, source of all, we are gathered today in gratitude for the great gift that is nature, that is our world. We are gathered in humble recognition of our responsibility to care for this gift. We are grateful for all that flows, including water and air. May we commit ourselves to ensuring that rivers and breezes aren't clogged and contaminated with the sludge of selfishness, the gunk of greed, but that they can continue to flow on, bringing life to all beings in this time and in future times. We are grateful for all that is still, the rocks, the mountains. May we commit ourselves to ensuring that they remain as a foundation for all life, and not be fracked or dynamited into oblivion. We are grateful for all that is rooted and yet grows, all the trees and other plants that provide the oxygen and the food we need to live. May we honor and emulate their rootedness and their rising. May we commit ourselves to giving ourselves for them in the same way they give to us. And finally, we give thanks for all that moves on fins, on feet, on bellies, on wings, or with the help of wheels. May we hold firm in our commitment to one another. May we remember that the great dance of all sentient beings is infinitely more powerful than the mindless role of market and empire. May our hearts be set on existence and not extraction. In this resolve, may we hold firm like the rocks, flow like water, root down and rise like the trees, and use the great gift of our minds, our hearts, and our bodies to love and to protect our home, Earth. And now, in this community of caring, I invite you in silence to lift upon your hearts the names or the images of the people, other beings, and the places on this dear, hurting planet that call for our concern, our action, and our love. May these beings and these places know peace. May they know wellness. May they be held in love. May it be so. Amen. Well, welcome again, all you brave souls who braved the river of of runners and made your way here. And welcome again to everyone who's joining us on YouTube this morning. Again, I'm Reverend Diana Davies. My pronouns are she, her, hers, and again, the reason that we are doing self-descriptions is because we know that there are folks who are joining us online who may not have the bandwidth that they can see us on the screen. We also may have guests and visitors and friends who are blind or visually impaired. And so by describing ourselves, we hope to give people a sense of who it is who's talking to them today. And so I am an older woman. I'm white with long gray hair, and I'm wearing a beige-colored clergy robe and my Earth Day leaf green stole. As a kid, there were 3 books that would always make me cry, and frankly, that can still make me cry. Charlotte's Web, The Velveteen Rabbit, which we read last week, and a book not as well known, The Little House by Virginia Lee Burton. In that story, there is a little house out in the country, and she watches the sun rise and set every day. She gazes at the moon and the stars, and way off in the distance, she can just see the lights of the big city. But that city is an afterthought. It's so far away. And there in the countryside, she is surrounded by a beautiful field of daisies. And in the spring, she watches the grass turn green and the flowers bud. And in the summer, she watches the children playing in a clean brook, and she enjoys seeing the trees fill out with green leaves. In the fall, apples are harvested and the leaves turn beautiful colors. And in the winter, children play on sleds and snow blankets the ground. And so it is, season after season. But the city lights grow closer and closer. And suddenly there is a road where there once were daisies. And instead of the sound of the brook, there are traffic noises as cars and trucks go rumbling by. The city comes closer and closer until it is all around her. Skyscrapers tower over her, an elevated train rumbles above her, and bright lights and pollution block the sky so that she can't see the sun or the moon or the stars anymore. It gets to the point where she can't even tell what season it is. And the illustration that goes with this part of the story is heartbreaking. The little house's broken windows and boarded up door look like eyes full of tears and a grimacing mouth. But one day, the great-great-granddaughter of the little girl who once lived in that little house happens to walk by, and she recognizes the house. And the house is loaded up on a trailer and moved out to the countryside, where once again she is surrounded by grass and trees and a brook and daisies. The end. And it's supposed to be a happy ending, but it never seemed that way to me. Because while the little house had found a new home, lush and green and peaceful, I couldn't stop thinking about the daisies that had once surrounded her, and the brook and the trees. Unlike the little house, those couldn't be saved. They were gone, all gone. And I wondered, would the cycle just begin all over again? Would the city once again encroach upon the little house's countryside and rob her of her joy in the changing seasons? Would someone find her and move her again? How many times can a house or a home be moved anyway? Will the city and its roads and light pollution and smog and all that noise eventually take over everything? And this, in fact, is where we find ourselves today. We've run out of pristine and untouched wild places. And even in the most far-flung location where humans rarely venture, where there are no skyscrapers or roads, no elevated trains, no bright lights, no smog, even those places aren't immune to climate change, to rising temperatures, rising waters, wildfires, mega storms. Today, short of loading the little house onto a rocket and blasting her out into space, you wouldn't be able to find a place for her that was beyond the reach of the environmental crisis. I remember that illustration of the little house with her crying eyes, her broken windows, and her grimacing mouth, her boarded up door. And I think of Edvard Munch's painting, The Scream, which he painted in 1893, 10 years after the eruption of the Krakatoa volcano. And if you're not familiar with that painting or you haven't seen it in a while, I invite you to go ahead and Google it on your phones. The volcanic eruption in Indonesia generated 100-foot-high tsunamis, made a sound that could be heard over 3,000 miles away, and spewed dust into the atmosphere that traveled all the way to Europe and colored the skies of Edvard Munch's homeland, Norway. Blood red and bright orange, just like in that famous painting, The Scream. Munch would later recall the circumstances that led to the creation of his famous painting. Quote, "I was walking along the road with two friends, and the sun was setting, and suddenly the sky turned a bright red, and I paused, feeling exhausted, and I leaned on the fence, and there was blood and tongues of fire above the blood-black fjord and the city. And my friends walked on, and I stood there trembling with anxiety, and I sensed an infinite scream passing through nature." End quote. Sometimes watching the utter devastation of the Ukrainian countryside, or the calving of giant Antarctic ice sheets, or wildfires sweeping through Australia or California or Colorado, I feel I can hear that infinite scream passing through nature. But most of the time, it's not so much a scream as a moan. It's a moan like I can imagine emerging from that little house in the story, surrounded by concrete and smoke. She never left home, but her home changed around her, making it unrecognizable. This is the experience that Glenn Albrecht, a professor of sustainability at Murdoch University in Perth, Australia, wanted to name when he coined a new term back in the early 2000s, solastalgia. He wanted to come up with a word that could describe the emotion that so many of us have, but maybe can't name. A kind of homesickness that you have when you've never left home, but home has changed into something else. In his book, Earth Emotions, he draws a connection between solastalgia and the Arctic Inuit word uggianaktuk, which means a friend who is behaving strangely. But in this case, the friend is Earth itself. The soul, S-O-L, in solastalgia is connected to the soul of the word desolate, meaning no peace and no comfort. Solastalgia is so much more painful than nostalgia. With nostalgia, there's the belief that somewhere far away there is still the home we once knew. The life, the seasons, the nature we once knew, that those things can be returned to us. Think, for example, of that classic nostalgic song, "I'll Be Home for Christmas," which works by assuming that somewhere, beyond war, beyond heartbreak, there is still snow, there are still traditions. Well, with solastalgia, on the other hand, there is no longer any there. It's not that we're away from home, it's that home itself has changed. Earth, our blue boat home, has changed. The blue boat has become a hot, dry, fiery, flooding, stormy, unpredictable place, and we are responsible for it. And we can respond by becoming mired in solastalgia. We can try to avoid the pain by denying it or ignoring it, or we can focus on the pain and become paralyzed by it. Or as Glenn Albrecht suggests, we can replace solastalgia with another new word, soliphilia. That S-O-L in solophilia is related to the word solidarity. In other words, the way to overcome despair over climate change is to remember that we are not alone. And even if that only means that our suffering is shared by countless others, we do not suffer alone. And if we do not suffer alone, it means we don't love alone. Because the reason we suffer is because we love this world so much. We love our lives so much. We love our children and our grandchildren, our gardens, our dogs, our cats, our horses, our sunrises and our sunsets. We love our memories of the ocean and our memories of the prairies. We love the first and the last firefly of summer. And we love storms and rainbows. Scientists tell us that we are in a last chance moment. This is our last chance to keep the climate from tipping into a death spiral with no recovery. And some say that we've already passed that point. But I want to ask you, if your loved one, your most precious one, the one who makes the birds sing whenever they are near, the one who brings sunshine to your heart, the one whose eyes are like starlight, that one. If that one was gravely, gravely ill, wouldn't you do everything in your power to keep that one alive and well? Even if the cure was only a Hail Mary, highly unlikely, against all odds possibility. And wouldn't you treasure each and every moment you had with this person, knowing it could be the last, at least the last one like this, like normal, like beautiful, wonderful normal? Well, nature is what makes the birds sing and brings sunshine and starlight, and nature is gravely ill. And we can give up, or we can fight for our planet as we would fight for a parent or a child or a lover with all we have, even when it seems hopeless. Because hopeless is a meaningless word in the face of love. And just as we would treasure every moment with a loved one who we fear will soon be gone, we must treasure this earth. Every breeze, every raindrop, every ant, every bird, every frost, every bud, everything potentially one of the last, everyone amazing, beautiful, a miracle. We are the blessed ones to be born in a time of such great importance, when our acts have such great significance, when everything we do matters. How lucky are we? How lucky are we to know greater comfort, greater convenience than any generation before us? From air conditioning to hot showers, from all the wisdom of the world's libraries to all the silliness, all the fluff of all the world available at our fingertips in an instant. Even as we are forced to appreciate how fragile it all is, how fleeting it is. No generation before has known such privilege and such power. What a tragedy it would be to lose that power, to lose this very unique and special moment of human possibility in petty bickering, in fake fights that are ultimately just a means of drawing attention away from the one thing that really matters, life itself, in all its diversity, in all its beautiful, glorious, miraculous messiness. In the end, there is only this one home. There is no pure, uncontaminated countryside to which we can move to get away from the noise and the lights and the pollution, because as our seventh principle reminds us, we are all interconnected in the same web of life. May we love this life with an unreasonable passion. And may we fight for it against all the odds, because fighting and loving, those are the things that matter. I'm so thrilled that once again we're joined by our wonderful guest musician, Hannah Helbig, who'll be playing for us What a Wonderful World.
I see trees of green, red roses too. I see them bloom for me and you, and I think to myself, what a wonderful world. I see skies of blue, clouds of white, the bright blessed day, the dark sacred night, and I think to myself, what a wonderful world. The colors of the rainbow, so pretty in the sky, are also on the faces of people going by. I see friends shaking hands, saying, how do you do? They're really saying, I love you. I hear babies crying, and I watch them grow. They'll learn much more than I'll ever know. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world. Yes, I think to myself, what a wonderful world.
We extinguish this flame, but not the light of love and community which burns in our hearts.
We'll conclude our service today with a hymn sung by the entire congregation. And immediately after the hymn, we invite you to stop in Daniel Hall to grab a cup of coffee or a glass of water. and join us for fellowship and conversation. And if you are new to our congregation or you've been coming for a little while and would like to learn more about us, I invite you to join me after the service in the Eddy Room, which is, if you just go through these doors, go all the way down to the end of the hall, take a right when you can't go any further, and then go to that room at the end of that hall. So I'm sure that someone else who's been around a while longer will also be able to help send you in that direction. And now I offer you this Gaelic blessing. Deep peace of the running waves to you. Deep peace of the flowing air to you. Deep peace of the quiet earth to you. Deep peace of the shining stars to you. May the road rise to meet you. May the wind always be at your back. May the sun shine warm upon your face. May the rain fall softly on your fields. Until we meet again, may nature hold you in the hollow of her hand. And now please rise in body or in spirit. Our hymn is in the teal hymnal, the soft-bound one. It's number 1064, Blue Boat Home.